Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1998's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Otherwise known as why Corey and Armando cannot go to Las Vegas anymore.
Very true. Very true. And before we get started, if you want to follow me and Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. You can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Kiss the Reviews. Let's get into the cast, which is basically two people and a slew of others that kind of make appearances throughout. But this film stars Johnny Depp as Raoul Duke and Benicio Del Toro as Dr. Gonzo, and a bunch of cameos by Tobey Maguire, Christina, Ricci, Verne Troyer, Penn Jillette, Diaz, Flea, and Gary Busey, and I'm sure I missed a few others.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking people in this movie for about 5 seconds.
Everybody wanted to be in this movie. They were like, we got 5 seconds for you. They were like, cool, I'm in it.
You were right.
Movies like this are weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was a movie, and for people that I know, they either love it or they hate it. There's nobody that's kind of like, it's a good movie. They're on one side or the other. Given when I watched this movie, college-ish age, I loved it when it first came out. I think it's a good movie still to this day. It still holds up. It still has the same, air about it for me anyway. But there's other people that are like, I couldn't follow it. And it's an acid trip for 2 hours.
Oh yeah. This is the most acid trippy thing since Natural Born Killers came out.
Yes.
Which I love both of these movies. I really love Hunter S. Thompson's writing. So I'm immediately drawn to this, where I think they did make some mistakes in this where they could have done it better, as we'll go on throughout the review. But yeah, this is one of those movies where I totally understand why a lot of people don't like it, especially if you've never actually read the book. But also, it's such a good fucking movie. It's so weird and strange and funny.
And that's why I like it.
Yeah.
I love hell, through all these reviews that we've done, and I'm like, dude, at the end, everybody needs to die. Or at the end, I just want this like weird ending. I want a weird movie. I truly enjoy super weird, where it's like, you have to watch this multiple times. It's almost like like Napoleon Dynamite.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Like the first time you watch Napoleon Dynamite, I don't care who you are, you're not rolling on the ground. You're literally going, what am I watching? Like, I don't even know what universe this is in. I don't know where they are. Like, this had the same effect on me the first time I saw it. And I liked it. I didn't know exactly why I liked it at that time until you watch it a couple times. But yeah, in that regard, it's exactly like Napoleon Dynamite was for me.
Yeah, the only difference is Benicio Del Toro makes me physically nauseous in this movie.
Oh my God.
Does such a great job.
Yes.
But fuck, is it disgusting.
That's right. Music!
Just the puke, the spit, the sweat, just all of it. Just, he's so gross in this film.
Him shitting in the bathtub.
But well, let's just get into this, because I want to talk about these scenes, and I really want to get your take, because I know you are a big Hunter S. Thompson fan, which I've maybe read 1 or 2 of his works. I haven't really jumped into that, but the movie opens somewhere on the edge of Barstow when the drugs begin to take hold.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
That is one of the best opening lines, if not one of the best opening monologues of all time.
Yes. Yes,
It is
absolutely.
so crazy.
And I'll say this too, because, and I think I told you at one point, it was pretty early on. I obviously have seen this movie multiple times, but I had to put the closed captioning on because when they cut to Duke or Gonzo for that matter, and they're talking in the film, everything is mumbled.
Yes.
So, and I'm just finding it hard to actually, maybe it's just my old age and my ears going, but I had to throw the closed captioning on. But the narration throughout this by Johnny Depp was much clearer and more concise. So I really liked the narration, because I was like, the fuck did he say? And then the narration would come in. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see where we're going now.
Yeah, no, the voiceover was much better. They must have known they had trouble with mics on set.
Yeah,
but they did sound like guys that were grinding their teeth, or
oh
like
yeah,
super fucking drugged out motherfuckers do.
Super believable, very realistic.
When they pick up Tobey Maguire here, Gonzo's driving, and they like decide to pick up Tobey Maguire, dude. It is hilarious, and this is actually one scene where I can jump in and maybe help explain for the people that hate this movie a little bit. Like I can fill in part of it, because they constantly are talking about their paranoia and why, like, the people are after them, right?
Yeah.
So in the book and in real life, Dr. Gonzo is an attorney. I think his last name was Acosta or some shit, but he was an attorney who went up against the LAPD. Like the LAPD took out like a civil rights leader, a Mexican civil rights leader in LA, and he went up against them, and they were really out to get him. And by extension, Hunter S. Thompson. So that is why, where they're on this trip and they're getting out of town for a little bit in the story and all this shit, that's why they're constantly paranoid and in constant fear of cops pulling them over, constant fear of people tracking them, all the paranoia tacked on to the fact that they are so fucking blotto that they would be they'd be paranoid anyway.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And
that's a little more of the backstory as to why they are so fucking constantly concerned about, like, people, when the people come into their room for room service, the maid later on.
So that's a great scene. I love that scene.
Yes. Christina Ricci is Lucy. Like, all of their paranoia and all of this shit stems from that.
And we get here Duke explaining to Tobey Maguire about their situation, so he doesn't think they're like in the Manson family. And after scaring the shit out of the hitchhiker, he jumps out and runs away. They finally reach Vegas. They walk in to the hotel. The carpet has vines that are growing up the walls. The clerk turns into like an eel as they're tripping balls. And we also get the bar scene where everyone turns into lizards, and there's blood all over the floor, and he's screaming about goddamn golf shoes. It's a drug, two buddies on a, on a trip, but like, they're adults. He's got a story to write. He's going there for a reason, but it almost turns here into like this, a buddy road trip movie. And so right now it's funny. It gets really fucked up and gross as the movie continues, but like here you're laughing. And I really liked how, because a lot of times in these movies, what they do is it's like, oh, I'm seeing these things and blah, blah, blah. And, you shake your head and then everybody's back to normal, but they just leaned into it and they just kept, like, nobody changed back. He's still in his like little fucking goddamn lizard world or whatever.
Yeah, like, part of what makes it so funny in my mind is how serious he is in this situation. Like, he's like, oh my God, like, if you hallucinate, I hallucinate, whomever, normally, right? You'd be like, fucking this, like, murky water, swamp water's coming up from the fucking carpet. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You'd be freaking out and you wouldn't want to, like, do it. Like, you kick your knees up to your chest, right? You'd have a little bit of panic. And he's just like, holy shit, I need some golf shoes. It'd be hell trying to walk through this without sticking to the ground. Like, just that mindset. Like, yeah, this is happening. I just need to figure out how to get through it. it's so fucking funny because it's like there's a Dungeons and Dragons game happening inside his mind.
Yes.
And you're just watching him like pick his story as he goes along and how to get through this shit. And the other thing is they set you up here where Gonzo is almost more of like his voice of like, he's going to tell him to do shit, but he's also the one like, hey man, you got to check into a hotel under a fake name with fucking acid and mescaline and all this shit running through. Are you ready to do this? Cause you're committing fucking federal crime. Like this is federal larceny you're doing. And so they set it up like, okay, he's the one out of control. Gonzo's going to have his back. And that'll be the movie. And it's like, no, in 2 scenes, Gonzo's out of his fucking mind.
Gonzo
so
goes fucking
Thompson.
Gonzo.
And like both of them are going fucking nuts at the exact same time. It's fucking brilliant because all of the tropes you would throw in, all of those cliches that you would throw in, like, oh, I'm the sober one. Ha ha ha, I'm the straight man. That doesn't exist.
No, it all goes out the window. And it's really funny because Duke's been assigned to cover like this motorcycle race on the outskirts of the city. They meet their cameraman. Their cameraman comes in, meets them in their room. This whole scene is just weird and funny. The cameraman leaves almost immediately because he's freaked the fuck out by these two psychos, as I would have.
Oh, 100%.
Being the cameraman, I'd be like, he stayed actually way longer than I would have. Like, I would have walked in, and you see Duke behind the bar, just like kind of peeking out. I would have been like, you know what? Too much for me. I gotta go. This is not my game here. I gotta get out of here.
Dude, I walk in that door and I see Benicio Del Toro in his sunglasses and his wife beater and his bikini brief underwear. I am literally turning around and walking the fuck out. You ain't shraping me today.
Yeah, no.
Somebody named Dr. Gonzo is going to shrape me. I don't need those kind of nightmares. I'm good.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Cameraman bounces, and then they travel to the desert where the race is being held. They're driving around in the dune buggy, trying to follow the race, but the dust all over the place makes it almost impossible to see anything. So Duke then leaves the track with literally no information for his story. My favorite part about this scene, well, when they're in the dune buggy and they come to the halt, and then the other dune buggy comes over, and it's like the little military thing. But the funniest part for me is, Johnny Depp's got the do-rag on his face, but he cut the little hole for his cigarette. I love that. Was my favorite part of that scene.
That was awesome.
I was like, respect the smoker there.
When I make my millions, I got one, but I want more. I need fuck you money. I don't quite have fuck you money yet, but once I make my fuck you money, I am basically walking the rest of this earth looking like Hunter S. Thompson or Johnny Depp did in this movie.
Let's face facts. When you come and visit me on vacation, that's basically the look you're going for. I would basically say it's a homeless fisherman. Like that's
that's the vibe I want to put out there. Yeah.
You know what? When you go on vacation, that is the vibe you put out. So you're halfway there.
You were right.
Duke and Gonzo have now run up this huge bill at the hotel that they were at. And between the drugs, the sleep deprivation, and etc., Gonzo threatens their cameraman and Duke in the elevator with the knife. And then we get the bathtub scene. When they get back to the room, Benicio Del Toro is just out of his fucking mind at this point. Soon after, Gonzo leaves Vegas and he goes back to Los Angeles. Corey's life lessons.
Hi, kids on a bender. Uncle Corey here. Don't shit in bathwater.
You know what? It's already shit water.
It is just, it's so fucking foul. Just, we all know what's going to happen when we take a certain amount of things that aren't supposed to be in our bodies. When we overindulge ourselves, we're going to take a shit and it's going to be disgusting. So do everyone a favor and be disgusting on the fucking toilet.
Yes.
Like an adult. When I do too many drugs, I shit in the toilet. I don't OD out in the fucking world like a poor. Grow up.
Hell yes.
One would think, I would think, and this is part of the reason why I like this movie, because I have no idea what's going on in their head. So I'm like, wouldn't you just get out of the tub? I know it's an inconvenience and all, but wouldn't you just get out of the tub and take a shit?
Well,
but apparently that's not a thing.
No, in fairness, he did eat the rest of the acid. He didn't just take like a tab.
Yeah.
Because the first time I took acid was right around the same time this, I think, was coming out, maybe a few years before. But it was on the 4th of July. I was still in high school, and I drove my car. It wasn't that big of a deal. So, yes, I would say with one tab of acid, you could probably be like, oh, shit, I need to poo, and go sit on a toilet. But eating all of it, the rest of it, in fairness, I'm probably just taking a shit wherever shit comes out. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have no frame of reference, so I'm just going to go with, sure. I guess. Your bowels are just going to do what they do, and you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, body control is not really a thing that's a priority.
So Duke leaves the hotel. He's all paranoid about the room service bill and yada yada. And he's headed back to LA. But after talking to Gonzo, who sent a telegram to Duke about another gig to cover the National DA seminar on illegal drugs, he drives back to Vegas and goes to the Flamingo because Gonzo booked him another hotel room at the Flamingo.
Now, this is where Hunter S. Thompson and I would completely diverge as human beings, because if I am on that kind of bender, I've been on that state, I believe what I believe.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going to that conference.
No.
Period. However, I am more like Gonzo, I think, in this situation, because I would be the guy that would just dip in the middle of a massive fucking acid trip and then call you the next day, totally fine with my shirt and tie on at work. No problem.
That is a Corey move. That is definitely a Corey move. What is not an Armando move, and it's the part where he gets to the Flamingo. He walks in and everybody for like the conference is there. Everybody turns and looks. This is what I respect about the drug use in this movie. You kind of mentioned it before. They deal with it and they push through. However, whatever mental gymnastics they have to do to get through it, they get through it.
Yep.
Where, for me, looking at it from my perspective, I would have either like curled up in a ball and started crying on the carpet of the floor at the Flamingo, or I would have just turned around and left. There is no pushing through. I would have given up on life at that point.
In my experience, when I've gotten paranoid like that and I've been like, oh shit, for some reason I like walk normal, but like I do like a super like Eddie Murphy white guy walk. Like my ass like starts, my ass cheeks and clothes on themselves.
Everything's clenched.
And I just look like a number 2 pencil with hair just walking through a fucking thing. It looks so awkward. So if you ever see me looking like that, there's a good chance I'm super fucked up.
So after getting to the Flamingo, Duke finds Gonzo with this young girl named Lucy, who's like 16, who apparently is an artist who paints portraits of Barbra Streisand. And Duke convinces Gonzo to drive her to another hotel and just leave her there.
This is all very uncomfortable. Mainly because I had a massive crush on Christina Ricci right around this time. So when that was happening, I was like, oh, don't pimp her out. I don't want to watch that. But also, don't pimp people out. That was really gross.
You're right again.
This whole thing was just, even for 98 standards, when I don't know that I had any sort of standards at that point in my life, or morals, I guess, for that matter. This was really uncomfortable for me first time viewing as well.
Yeah.
So
This made me think Nancy Reagan may have been onto something.
Literally, this whole movie should have the poster should have been, instead of Johnny Depp, it should have been Nancy Reagan on the front of this goddamn poster.
Being like, I told you so.
They head back to their room at the Flamingo. Lucy calls. Gonzo's dealing with her on the phone, which is probably one of my favorite scenes because back in the day, like, this is how you handled shit. Like,
Armando broke up with 3 girlfriends this way.
He's kicking the phone across the floor and he's like, he's just screaming. He's like, get your hands off me.
Genius.
Pure genius. For as fucked up as they both are on whatever they're taking, this is a brilliant plan. Like, click.
Yeah, Armando faked his death with 2 different girlfriends and actually went to school with them. So he had to see them the next day.
I got better.
And it worked.
I got better. I just told him I got better. It was fine.
You're a fucking genius.
As Gonzo's on the phone with Lucy, Duke is super paranoid. He tries to calm down by using some of Gonzo's adrenochrome. He takes too much. He becomes a sloppy mess. He's seeing demonic visions. And eventually he just blacks out.
Dude, Gonzo giving the description of adrenochrome and how that's going to make you like higher than you've ever got. I'm like, dude, this is where they got it from? This is the whole Q thing.
Yes.
Is they watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and is like, oh, I got it. Adrenochrome and liberals get high. That's it? Fuck off, man.
Yes.
Do better with imaginations. This is so stupid.
You just steal things from movie scripts. Duke then wakes up sometime later. He finds his hotel suite trashed beyond recognition. He listens to his tape recorder and tries to piece together what happened while he was blacked out. This is when we get the maid entering their suite. And after they attack her, they explain they're narcotics investigators and they're there for the seminar, and they hire her as an undercover operative, which is a this scene is fantastic and more humorous because the next scene is when they go to the diner in North Vegas, and that scene's really uncomfortable because this is when Benicio Del Toro like really turns and he's threatening the waitress, and it's just them two in the diner. It's just this he's dirty as shit. He's just glistening with sweat and spit, and that's such an uncomfortable scene.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi everyone, Uncle Corey here. Don't hit on the wait staff.
Yeah.
Whether it's, being just outwardly upfront about it, or even like you think that he or she is kind of flirting with you and maybe gave you a nice smile or a nice eye. They're not. It's their job. Leave them alone when they're at their fucking job. If you walked in my house right now while I was recording this show and was like, hey, can I suck your dick? I'd say no, because I'm doing my fucking job. Don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
And I'll tack on to yours with one quick don't do that. Hi, everybody. Don't do any of the shit that's in this movie. That's just, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about here, right? Just don't do anything either of these two characters do in this movie.
Fair enough.
You were right.
But I like because you get the maid scene and then you get that scene. Yep. And that you're cutting into them trying to buy an orangutan in the hotel. So there's like comedic pieces strewn throughout that whole. So you're only uncomfortable for a little bit.
Well, yeah. This is drugs.
No,
that's
100%.
That's what I think is so good about like things like Dazed and Confused and Half Baked. Obviously those aren't hard drugs like they're using.
No, they're pop movies.
They're fucking smoking plants. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit? But a lot of these drug movies kind of skirt the fringes, and it's either a comedy and it's all fun and games. We're all doing blow and having fun, and like Take Me Home Tonight, very underrated, by the way, movie.
Yeah.
Like, all the coke use in that is a fucking blast. Everybody's just having fun and fucking and jokes. This is very realistic to drugs. There's a lot of fun, but you are a totally different, disgusting piece of shit.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like, there's no drug that's just fun 24/7. You might think it is, but it's not, because that's going to wear off in about 6 to 8 hours. And when it does, you're going to be in a shitty place, just like he is in this scene.
Hell yes.
All of the different type, he opens the briefcase at the beginning, and you see the mescaline and the booze and the coke and like all the shit that they have. And when you're mixing like all those hard drugs and then you pour booze on top of it, again, I don't have a huge frame of reference for this, but I would assume it's not. Fuck, even if you take one painkiller because my back hurts and then you pour a couple of drinks on top of it, it can go bad real quick. So I'm going to make the leap from that to, if you're doing mescaline and heroin and fucking all these other different kinds of drugs, and then you pour booze on top of it, it can go sideways in a goddamn hurry. Well, and after all this, the film basically ends with Duke rushing Gonzo to the airport before going back to his hotel room one last time to finish his article about the demise of the 60s and failure of the counterculture movement. And Duke then loads up his car and heads back to Los Angeles. End of film. Like you said when we started, I understand why there's people that don't like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's weird, it's gross, it's dirty. And I'm not talking about like dirty humor or like they're physically dirty.
Yeah, it's good. There is no clean. Everything about this is gross,
dude. Even when they cut to when they're talking about the all the room service that they've ordered, and he's showing the plates, and there's just fucking ketchup and shit stuck to the wall. Like it's disgusting.
Yes, it is.
And I have a very strong gag reflex when it comes to gross shit. And this movie got this close every time from just one of those, because every single scene. With that said, all the shots that they use in this movie, like how they shot those scenes, there's a lot of like the shit's just tilted. The camera's just tilted throughout the whole fucking scene. Stuff like that, which adds to the griminess of everything. The lighting that they use adds to the fucking grossness and griminess of just Vegas in general.
Hell yes.
The one thing I wish they would have done a little bit more exposition, more explanation, however you want to describe it. The thing I wish they would have played out a little bit longer was, he has basically one line that illustrates this, is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is about these guys chasing the American dream. That's what it turned into. It went out there to be this, and it turns into them chasing the American dream. The book obviously expands on that and defines what that is. They don't do that here. They don't define the excess and the exploring capitalism and really just drenching yourself in that overindulgent American attitude that we have. We overeat, we overspend, we over fucking party, all of that shit that, going into it. So without them doing that, I think it is easier for an average or casual viewer to dislike this movie.
That's fair.
Because it is like a Napoleon Dynamite, just super fucking gross.
Yes.
No, I think that's all fair. I think you could have added some more stuff exposition wise to the very beginning, because it's a decently long drive at the very
yeah.
beginning. So you could add that without even missing a beat or adding more time to the movie. Because I think it's the 2 hours was like a minute 57 or an hour 57 or whatever it was.
Mhm.
It wouldn't add any extra time to the movie. And I think it's paced well. Like the 2 hours is good. I think if it went longer, I actually thought it was longer. I had to look it up before I started watching because I just remember it being, and maybe it's just because you're just acid trippy all the way through from front to back, so you kind of think it's a longer movie than it is.
It's a lot.
No, it is a lot. It is a lot.
It's a lot.
And that's why I get why there's some people that are like, I can't, because it's a lot.
Right.
But for me, I still like the film. I still find, the same pieces funny. And as you watch it, multiple times, you start to find different things to look at. Because visually, there is a lot to look at in this film. So after you've seen it multiple times, you start picking out different stuff in each of the scenes, which I think is just, it's cool. That's cool for any movie.
Oh, 100%. No, I mean, it obviously stands the test of time because it's set in a specific time.
Yeah.
And I think all the drug use is still a great depiction of that, whether you're doing the comedy part or being a little more scary with it. I think without Johnny Depp and without Benicio Del Toro, you would have nothing. And I mean that you literally could put you could put Daniel Day-Lewis in this role. You could put anybody you want into these roles. And it could never be what these two did with it. This is my, by far, favorite Johnny Depp role.
Yeah. Their chemistry is so good. They work so well together. And like, I agree with you 100%. I don't think there's two other people you can put in this.
No.
Or if you have Johnny Depp, I don't know that there's another actor that you could put in that would bring it together. Like one with the other. It's like you have to have them together.
100%. And I'll give you an example. Like Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio do a great scene in Wolf of Wall Street where they're on the lewds and they've finally kicked in. Right?
Yes. Yep.
I can picture 100 different acting pairs doing that scene and it being equally as funny.
Yeah.
I can't do that with this film. And that's to me what makes it special is the role they played was so unbelievably captivating.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what happened. And if you do go back and watch this, pay special attention to Johnny Depp's cussing. And how he curses at people, outstanding.
There's two women fucking a polar bear.
All right, you weird fucker, sit down. Back in the tub.
Back in the tub. I'll plunge this into your fucking throat.
No, dude, that's all I got. I still think this holds up. You already said that. I think it's a really good movie. If you don't like it, let us know why. And I'm sure we could guess why, but let us know why and give it another go. Just give it another go.
Or burn in hell.
We hate you. But that's all I got. You got anything else on this one?
No, sir.
All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews. This was 1998's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.